Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Faulkner and I would like to thank you for watching this video. In this video log, I'll be discussing parental alienation in depth. I will not only define parental alienation, I will also explain how the abusive parent, also known as the alienating parent, enforces this form of abuse. Now, as I said in my last video, parental alienation is where the custodial parent teaches the child to avoid connection with the non-custodial parent, using fear of abandonment and a variety of psychological manipulations, all meant to foster the alienation. What this means is that the custodial parent, who is the alienator, is isolating the child or the children from the other parent as a demonstration of anger. It is no different than telling your friends to give someone else the silent treatment due to a misunderstanding. Parental alienation is this same concept of the silent treatment, but taken to a higher adult level. Often in parental alienation cases, after several months of having little or no contact with the non-custodial parent, the child will show symptoms of the abuse. According to the Parental Alienation Awareness Organization, some early symptoms include the children showing a negative demeanor to the non-custodial parent, the excessive praising of the custodial parent, and the children are tremendously uncomfortable around the non-custodial parent. Thus, they will resort to a purposely changed personality and tend to avoid conversation, usually answering questions in one-word answers. Other symptoms include the children blame the non-custodial parent for the financial issues of the custodial parent, and the children have more knowledge regarding the legal system and the divorce process than a normal child would, and the children may even show hostility towards the alienated parent. So, how is it possible to turn a child against his or her own parent? The idea itself seems preposterous. From an outside point of view, the idea of a child turning against a parent seems like that specific parent clearly did something worthy of anger and hatred. However, that's not always the case. Before I learned of the term parental alienation, I originally thought the abuse my brother Jacob was being put under was a distorted form of Stockholm Syndrome, in which the victim is held against his or her will, and the captor demonstrates a sense of omnipotence to gain compliance from the victim. Eventually, after a period of time where the victim is isolated only with his or her captor, a sense of sympathy is actually developed for the captor. While the hypothesis that my brother was a victim of Stockholm Syndrome was wrong, it inevitably led me to parental alienation, which is in the same family. In parental alienation, the custodial parent uses the same form of psychological manipulations to maintain control. So the first technique alienating parents uses is complete isolation from the non-custodial parent. This is where the child is strictly prohibited from speaking to the non-custodial parent and to anyone that associates with the non-custodial parent. What this does is limits the child's perspective to only the alienating parent's point of view. This is key in maintaining control of the child. By limiting what the child knows, the alienating parent has greater control of the child's perspective of the non-custodial parent. This is also strengthened by encouraging the child to associate with supporters of the alienating parent. The longer this ensues, the, the stronger the negative reaction to the non-custodial parent. Social media access may also be restricted to prevent private contact. I will explain this one further in my next video regarding how my stepmother reacted when I first made a Facebook account. Now, the second form of psychological manipulation is the exploitation of the fear of abandonment. Often, after a divorce, the child develops a fear that his or her parents will leave him or her. Now, the alienating parent strengthens this fear by using threats of leaving the child. It can come in many forms. It can come in the form of, I won't love you if you don't do this. I maybe I should just pack my bags and go. Or in my personal case, maybe if I just died, you would understand. What this results in is the immense amount of pressure being placed on the shoulders of the child, and until the child complies with the wishes of the alienating parent to the best of their ability, because they're afraid they're going to lose another parent. So another form of enforcing parental alienation is harassment of both the child and the alienated parent. This can come in the form of physical abuse to verbal abuse, ranging from vulgarities and or words that emasculate the self-esteem, such as worthless, idiot, fool, useless, pathetic, lazy, and many more. And what this results in is the strong desire to please the alienating parent. The alienating parent is seen as the holder of sticks and carrots, and the children become desperate to gain the support of the alienating parent to reduce the verbal insults and possibly physical abuse they receive. On the other hand, the constant insults are thrown at the non-custodial parent, aiming to weaken their emotional state, so the non-custodial parent will stop pursuing the child. The alienating parent then turns to the child and says, "See, they don't care about you." And so, by denying the non custodial parent access to the child and maintaining the fiction of the disinterest of the non custodial parent, the alienating parent paints a picture that says to the child, "I am your only hope. Defy me, and you risk total abandonment." Now, the last mode of enforcing parental alienation is reward for compliance. While harassment is the sticks in the analogy, rewards for compliance are the carrots. Tying into before, the child tries to salvage their emotional state by pleasing the alienating parent. In return for pure obedience, the child is given a small token or reward to show the profit for submission without question. These rewards lead to the child to believe that the alienator is not all that bad, or has a good heart, or has good intentions. All of these are psychological reactions built in the child by the alienating parent to ensure the child stays dependent on the alienating parent. These reactions are commonly seen in abuse cases, be it sexual, spousal, verbal, physical. As for why adults do this to children, I'm not qualified to make such a deduction. However, having been a child who has been through this form of abuse and was coerced into rejecting my own mother, and now having my own sibling reject me due to the manipulations of the same alienator, I do believe I am in a position to discuss this form of abuse, as I have been involved in this abuse from both perspectives. If I were to speculate, I have noticed patterns of insecurity, low self-esteem, vindictiveness, and selfishness to be the core of all alienating parents. While we may not be able to change the behavior of these individuals, hopefully we can educate each other how to avoid divorce or at least amicably separate without putting our children through abuse and psychological trauma. At the same time, we need to educate family court to be aware of parental alienation in order to facilitate alienated parents to gain support and relief. Now, I would like to thank you for watching this video. Everything I spoke about is purely based on my personal experience with parental alienation. This video is dedicated to my brother, Jacob, who is suffering the same form of abuse currently. In my next video, I will talk about how parental alienation affected me personally and when I was subjected to this form of abuse for 12 and a half years. I will also discuss how I passed so much time without my biological mother and my ways of coping with the stress. I will also zone in on Gloria, who was my stepmother at the time, and how she used these techniques I explained before to enforce the alienation from my mother. For more information, please feel free to visit the Parental Alienation Awareness Organization or just comment below. Please also take the time to visit my website at www.jacobfaulkner.com, as well as like my page on Facebook at Bring Jacob Faulkner Home and follow us on Twitter at the Faulkner Team. Once again, thank you so much. With your help, we can bring Jacob home.